Mark chapter 4, verses 35 through 41. Mark chapter 4, verses 35 through 41. Mark chapter 4, verses 35 through 41. And it reads as follows. And the same day, when the even was come, he saith unto them, Let us pass over unto the other side. And when they had sent away the multitude, they took him even as he was in the ship. And there were also with him other little ships. And there arose a great storm of wind, and the waves beat into the ship, so that it was now full. And he was in the hinder part of the ship, asleep on a pillow. And they awake him and say unto him, Master, carest thou not that we perish? Yes. And he arose and rebuked the wind, and said unto the sea, Peace, be still. Yes. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And he said unto them, Why are ye so fearful? How is it that ye have no faith? Yes. And they feared exceedingly, and said one to another, What manner of man is this? Yes. That even the wind and the sea obey him.
Yes, yes, yes.
Our subject today is weathering the storm.
Yes. Amen. Amen.
Just so happened on yesterday it was snowing. And I said today when the Lord directed me towards this message, I'm going to say it, I believe it's the Lord. I said it would tie in just well with today's weather and things that's going on. Amen. Leading up to Mark chapter 4, 35 through 41, we know that Jesus and his disciples were by the Sea of Galilee. Yes. Wherever Jesus and his disciples were, the multitude of people would soon gather. The gathering of the people was so great, both on land and at sea, that Jesus and the disciples got into a nearby ship. And there Jesus began to teach the multitude of people many great and wonderful things. Things that were life-changing. And we need to know that God's word is life-changing. Jesus had taught them all day. And when it was evening time, he decided it was time to go. This is where Mark 35 begins. We look at Mark 35, 4, 35 through 41. We know that this incident was also recorded or referenced in Matthew 8 and in Luke 8, with each passage being written from the point of view of Mark, Matthew, and Luke. Amen. It starts with a directive from Jesus. Let us pass over unto the other side. Meaning we need to move or proceed until we reach our destination. Yes. God has given us a directive. Yes. Pass over. And note that word doesn't mean stop.
Okay.
It means keep it moving until you reach the other side. After the multitude was sent away, they departed. It is noted that the multitude consisted of those on land. The people who were at sea were able to continue to dwell within his presence even though even though they weren't being taught. So those on the land, they couldn't go, but those on the sea, they started following. If Jesus had not decided to retire for the day, the people on land would not have left his presence. We should note that if the believers and the unbelievers were willing to hang around Jesus all day and all night, they just might be telling us something about being in the presence of the Lord. Amen. Maybe if we as a people started to hang around the Lord more, we would be blessed to experience what they were experiencing when they were hanging around Jesus. Amen. When it's time to hang with Jesus, we running from Jesus, but they were hanging with him. Whether he was saying something or not, they came running. No matter what city he went in, when they heard Jesus was in town, they started to flock where he was. That's right. It was just about being in his presence. And we have to understand, when we want the blessings of the Lord, we have to be in his presence. Just being there, there's some benefits.
Yes. Yes, there is.
We are told when Jesus we are then told while Jesus and his disciples and those in the surrounding boats and ships were traveling to the other side of the sea, a great storm began to rise up. Yes. It was such a storm that the boats and ships on the sea began to overflow with water. So it wasn't just the boat Jesus was on. Right. Every ship and boat that was at the sea at that time were being flooded with water. Since Jesus had been teaching all day, he was tired. So when they began to proceed to the other side of the sea, he found himself a place to lay his head, and he soon went to sleep. In the midst of his sleeping, the disciples woke him up. Their words to Jesus were basically, "Do you see what's going on? And what are you going to do about it?" And that's something that should be familiar to what something we say to Jesus, whether we say it like that or not. When we're going through stuff, we're telling Jesus, "Don't you see what's going on? And what are you going to do about it?"
Amen. That's what we do.
After hearing the words of his disciples, Jesus got up and spoke to the storm. Upon hearing the words from Jesus, the storm settled down and the sea was at peace.
Yes.
Then Jesus turned to his disciples, wanting to know, why didn't they just simply speak to the sea the same way he just did? Instead, they were living in fear and allowed fear to consume them based on the circumstances they found themselves in. In that short dialogue, Jesus was letting them know that they had the power over the circumstances that they were in. They just had to use the power that was at their disposal.
Amen.
Then we end with the disciples being amazed by how powerful Jesus was that the storm obeyed his command. Because of their amazement, we are able to determine that the disciples were limiting Jesus' power to what they had seen him do in the past.
Mm-hmm.
They never witnessed the Lord speaking to the storm. To them, all Jesus could do was heal people, but here he was going beyond just the healing. They had not seen Jesus at his full capacity or ministry. It was just getting started. Which lets us know, it's a side note, are we limiting Jesus or the Lord based upon what we have seen him do? Because that's what they did. They saw Jesus heal, so they thought that's what, he's great. He is a great healer.
Mm-hmm.
They had not yet seen all other stuff that Jesus could do. And we haven't seen all that Jesus can do.
Mm-hmm.
We only see a certain thing, and so anything that pertains to our lives, we only deal with that little thing.
Yes.
But when we're talking about a God that's all this, why are we limiting him to this?
Amen.
A storm is seen as a violent disturbance or upheaval. Some of the most common storms consist of the following. A derecho storm. A derecho storm is a large series of storms following each other over a path of at least 240 miles with wind gusts of at least 55 miles per hour. Then we have the flooding storm. Floods occur due to rain and other water rising faster than the drains can handle. Flash floods can leave buildings and roads under several inches of water in a matter of minutes. Flooding often leads to severe damage to homes and commercial buildings and other property and infrastructure. Then we have the hailstorms. The hailstorms often cause a lot of damage as they are hard and can fall at a speed of 120 miles per hour. Damage caused by hailstorms often includes roofs, windows, and skylights and sidings and gutters, as well as other property and vehicles. Then we have the snowstorms. Heavy snow may seem more of an inconvenience than a cause of, but a heavy snowstorm may seem more of an inconvenience than a cause of damage to your home. However, heavy buildups of snow can lead to a collapse of a roof or gutter, block drainages, and cause flooding. Then we have the hurricane storms. The hurricane is the most powerful type of a tropical cyclone and is identified by low pressure systems, high winds and heavy rainfall, and storm surges and swells. Hurricanes can reach land and can be extremely destructive, damaging property and affecting infrastructure. Then we have the ice storm. Ice storms produce freezing rain, which covers everything in ice, making everything slippery and causes hazardous conditions and potentially affecting homes and vehicles. Then we have the lightning storms. Lightning is often to blame for storm damage and is usually the cause of fallen trees, wildfires, structural fires, and power outages. Then we have the thunderstorms. Thunderstorms can cause a wide range of different types of weather, such as hail, tornadoes, and flooding. This can cause damage to property. Lightning strikes from dry thunderstorms where there is no rain and often causes wildfires. This lets us know that a thunderstorm does not operate alone. Tornado storms. Then we have the tornado storms. Tornadoes are extremely dangerous from the high winds often in excess of 300 miles per hour, to the debris carried by and debris is carried by these high winds. Then we have the tropical storms. Tropical storms must have wind speeds of between 39 and 73 miles per hour. The main damage caused by tropical storms include damage caused by water and damage caused by debris picked up by the wind. As we can see, each of the storms have a different objective.
Yes.
In our lives today, many storms will rise up.
Yes.
So as it is in the natural, so it is in the spiritual when it comes to storms.
Amen.
No one is exempt from the storms.
No. Amen.
The storms can be and often are overwhelming.
Well.
But Jesus shows us by example that we can sleep in the midst of our storms.
Amen.
The problem we're having today is that we're not sleeping. When our storms are hitting or hit us, we find ourselves worrying.
Yep.
We find ourselves complaining. We find ourselves doubting. We find ourselves staying up all night because of the storms in our life. What Jesus sent us word today is go to sleep.
Go to sleep.
Wow. Wow.
Long overdue.
Matter of fact, I'll sidetrack by saying this. In the midst of the storm, because Jesus was sleeping, if he had stayed asleep, he would have reached the other side. Matter if the disciples had stayed asleep,
Okay.
just like Jesus was sleeping,
Yes.
they would have never known what storm was on it, was happening.
No, that's true. Slept right through.
So they might have been damaged because of the water, but they would have known nothing about it because they would have been sleeping.
See that?
That's why sometimes you got to sleep in the midst of your storm so you don't know what's going on.
Yes.
Because stuff is going on, but if you don't know nothing about it, it's like, hey, I don't know nothing about that. And sometimes we can sleep, and the very next day someone can tell you, did you hear what happened?
No.
No, why not? I was sleeping.
I was asleep. Absolutely. Good sleep.
So if you were sleeping, you don't know what's going on around.
That's right.
Right. Good sleep.
The word of the Lord tells us today is sleep in your storm.
Sleep.
His actions also show us that the storm that rises up cannot hinder us from where we are supposed to go.
Amen.
We are the hindrance, not the storm. The storm is going to come, but that doesn't mean it has to hinder you.
That's right.
He also reveals to us that we have power in our words.
Amen.
Because we possess power and authority, all we have to do is speak the word to our storms and tell our storms to be at peace. Even if our storms don't stop and actually get worse, because sometimes our storms don't stop.
That's right.
And sometimes our storms, after we pray and get in God's face, our storms get worse.
Amen.
You would think it would be the opposite. But sometimes that's when they start getting that. That's when they really start acting up. Jesus wants us to know, once we speak the word over our storm, we will get results. So if the results that I have spoken on Monday don't come to pass, He said simply speak it again on Tuesday.
That's it. Word.
And you keep speaking the word over your storms until your storms come subject
Amen.
and are placed under your feet.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Because sometimes storms are stubborn.
Yes.
We already told you they come being destructive, cause upheaval. Your storm ain't trying to listen to you.
No, it's not.
That's why you got to bring the noise. What is the noise? Your words telling the storm, peace, be still. And say it often, even when you come out of your storm. Keep speaking to your storm until you're going to stay still. So that it doesn't try to rise up again.
That's right.
When a parent calls a child, the parent basically knows that the child is going to listen to what they say. Why? Because of power in their words. Come here. The child may be resistant to coming here, but the reality is when you say come here, the child is going to soon come.
That's right. They know what to do.
No matter what kind of storms we face, no matter how much noise the storms make, the Lord expects us to speak the word to our storm.
Amen. Amen.
Our relationship with God should allow us to see past the storms and to see victory.
Yes.
Victory belongs to the believer.
Amen.
Our faith in God can lead us to our victory.
Yes, right.
And should cause us to be at rest.
Amen.
We cannot lose our faith because of our surroundings or the situations we find ourselves dealing with. Faith says when we step out, something is going to happen.
Amen.
Faith grows through circumstances.
Amen.
The more circumstances we put our faith in, the greater it can grow.
Amen.
And each step we take is a learning experience.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Jesus chastised the disciples because they refused to put what they learned through experience to use.
Amen.
They had the power and authority but didn't put it to use. They had walked with him, they talked with him, they hung out together, they saw all he was doing, and everything he did, he blessed them to be able to do. And so he was saying, based upon all that we have gone through, all that I've taught you, you didn't need to really wake me up. All you had to do was speak to your storm.
Amen. Amen.
Sometimes we allow storms in our lives to linger longer than they are supposed to.
Amen. Amen.
Meaning when the storm arises in your life, speak to it. When stuff starts happening, speak to your situation.
Amen.
Tell it to come subject.
Amen.
Don't allow it just to continue on simply because you want. No, speak to it so that it can stop doing what it's doing.
That's right.
And also know that it's in our hands.
Yes.
So we can come out on Monday or we can come out on Friday. It's better to come out on Monday
Amen.
than to come out on Friday
That's right.
because that meant that you dealt with 5 days of storm. But if you spoke the word on Monday and brought your storm to cease or to rest on Monday, then you could have 4 extra days of peace.
Amen. Amen.
Why should we be in the storm when we don't have to?
That's right.
And God wants us to be a people of peace.
Yes.
If we do not work towards getting rid of our storms, they are going to cause us a whole lot of problems. So if you don't get rid of your storm will grow. And something that was small becomes big because we fail to put it under our feet.
Amen.
Are we prepared for our storms? When it comes to storms, there was a weather channel that tells us what kind of storms will be headed our way. If we have a cell phone, it most likely tells us the weather on the main screen.
Yes.
If we listen to the news, they normally have a segment dedicated to telling us what the weather is and will be. If we go on the internet and type in weather, it will provide us with a weather forecast. If we do not know the weather, it is not due to a lack of information not being available to us. It is mostly due to us not making ourselves available to the resources provided to us relative to the weather. Nor are we paying attention to the warning signs given, telling us that a storm is coming our way. If we are not prepared for the storms, how do we expect to weather the storms? So God is letting us know the information is out there.
Yes.
But it's up to us to make ourselves available to what's going on so that we will know what to do in our storms.
Yes.
Again, Jesus told us to speak the word. The Bible from Genesis to Revelation provides us with information on every storm that may try to rise up in our lives. It is up to us to read about all pending storms. The Bible is symbolic of the weather channel, the cell phone, the news, and the internet.
Amen. Amen.
He said, the information about the storms is in the Word. But it's up to you to read what's in the Word so you will know about every storm that comes your way. Because you can relate every scenario in the Bible to what you're going through today.
Amen.
And the thing about the enemy, all he does is recycle what he already used.
That's right. That's right.
And he'll clean it up just for you. So it is tailor-made for you. But the blueprint, the guidance, the direction to defeat your storm is in the Word. When we read up on our storms, we were blessed with insight of knowing how to place our storms under our feet. Our prayer, praise, and worship will also help us weather the storm and will bring things in order. Sometimes we don't know what to do in our storms, and God says, after you speak the word to your storm, stay in a prayer mode. Stay in a praise mode and stay in a worship mode, because that will keep your minds focused on me and not on your storm. Because if our minds are left idle, looking at what we're going through, will consume us. And when it starts consuming us, the enemy will start speaking in our ears, telling us you're not getting out of this storm. And then we'll start saying, I'm not getting out of this storm. And when we start confessing we're not getting out of the storm, the enemy will reinforce our words by sending us a greater storm to ensure that we stay in the storm.
Amen.
Another part of being prepared is centered around how we dress. We must have the proper covering. If we are not wearing the appropriate attire, we will find ourselves soaked in the elements of the storm. That's when we deal with covering ourselves with the whole armor of God. Because it's protecting us in every area so that when the storm comes, we are fully protected.
Yes, Lord. Thank you, God.
If we did not wear the proper clothing, shoes, or use an umbrella, how do we can expect to get wet? On yesterday, it was a great storm here. Called it a snowstorm. I didn't know nothing about yesterday's storm. You know why? Because I didn't make myself available to the information that would have told me a storm is on its way. And you won't be prepared for the storm if you don't know about the storm. But today, when I knew the storm, we was in the storm, even the storm, even though the storm may have passed, I still made sure I was properly prepared. So I grabbed my scarf, made sure I had everything together. I wasn't going to dress fully up because I knew I had to shovel some snow. But I dressed up casual. I guess this is casual. But I had make sure I had the proper shoes on. Why? Because I'm walking in the snow and I'm shoveling the snow. I knew I couldn't go in the snow without a coat on. Because, again, without a coat, I could easily get sick. Why? Because I'm in a storm. And sometimes we get cold and we get sick. Why? Because we don't have our proper covering on. So we don't know what's going on. You wasn't prepared for the storm. The storm was going on and you knew you had to cover up. You knew you had to have everything together. Why? Because you were in a storm.
That's right.
I knew I had to have my head covered. Why? Because I'm in a storm. And if I want to make sure my head is well protected and is not fully deceiving with whatever the elements on, I need to have my hat on.
Amen.
If I wasn't lazy, I would have got the umbrella out of the car. To let you know, sometimes you're going to need your umbrella. You're going to need your gloves. Why? Because you're in a storm.
Right.
And we are in storms uncovered with the resources God has given us. And God said, I've given you the most powerful tool ever in every storm you come against, and that is your mouth. And instead of us using our mouth in a positive way, we use it in a negative. Instead of us speaking to our storm and say, peace be still, we're worrying about when is the storm going to be over. Speak to it. When you take time to speak to your storm, you may find out that what you were in soon passes away.
Amen.
One thing about when I travel in Florida, and I'm in Florida, it's amazing to be there. 1 minute it rains.
Next minute it's a storm.
It will rain bad. And 5 minutes later,
5 minutes.
someone come up.
Yes, sir.
You look on the ground, and it'll be all dried up.
Dried up.
You would have never known there was ever a storm.
That's right. That's good. That's true. Yep.
Today, God said, speak to your storm.
Right.
That's how you weather the storm. You speak to it. Tell it to be at peace. And just like the weather does in Florida, it'll do right in your storm.
Yeah.
Dry up.
Yeah.
Good word.
Sun will shine. Well, one time it was cloudy and you were saying, is it the same thing?
That's right. The same. What else? Thank you, Jesus.
Weather in the storm.
During the storm.
My God, my God. Thank you.
When it comes to the storms, we must remember what Jesus said. He stated, we are passing over or through. Jesus knew that the storms were coming, but he was not going to allow it to hinder or cause him to alter his plans. His plan was, I'm going to go to sleep.
That's right.
While we travel to the other side. We allow our storms to alter our plans. We change everything. Why? Because I'm dealing with a storm. I like that I heard. It's a temporary storm
Yep.
that's going to pass. As we pass through, it's going to pass through. But we make that temporary storm last longer than it's supposed to be. It's a temporary storm. In this journey called life, we're going to find ourselves dealing with various types of storms. The sickness storm, the financial storm, the job storm, the family issue storms, the hurt storm, the abuse storm, the depression storm, the sexual storms, the confidence storm, and so on. No matter what kind of storm we find ourselves facing, we must remember we are passing over and through to the other side.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Jesus.
Weathering the storm is what we do. Read the word. Get in God's face. Build your relationship with God so that no matter what comes your way, you'll know what to do. We are supposed to be at peace. We're supposed to be living in a state of rest in the midst of whatever storm that comes our way. One thing I'll use Job about, even though he didn't like what he was doing, he was weathering the storm. He was concerned about why I'm in this storm.
Yes, he was.
But because of relationship, even when his wife said, this don't make no kind of sense. He was the one that said, no, we can weather this storm. No matter what storm you're in, you can weather it. I'm weathering the storm now. Because on January 2nd, 2018, I was laid off. And to this day, I have not yet really been able to find full employment all over again. I'm forced to weather a storm.
Yes.
But it's up to me how I weather my storm.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's true.
It's up to you how you weather your storm.
Yes, God. Yes, yes.
You're not going to like the storms that's going to come your way. I talked about 10 different storms that have its own attack.
Yes. Yes.
We're not going to like what we got to go through.
Not at all.
But Job said it plainly. Man born of a woman a few days old and full of trouble.
Full up.
Meaning
Full up.
a storm is going to come your way simply because.
Simply because.
That's right. You're born. Lord help us.
And we must know we will, in this life, we're going to go from one storm to the next.
Absolutely.
But as we go from one storm to the next, God expects us to broaden our imagination when it comes to what we're going through. Meaning, don't limit him to this. He says, understand I'm that, and no matter what you're going through, speak to it and know that I have the power and authority to step in the midst of your storm and deal with it. But you deal with it first by speaking the words. I'll deal with it second because I'm going to put everything to naught. But you speak to your storm first.
Right.
When it rises up, speak to it.
Yes. Thank you, Jesus.
It's like the grass. I have a lawn. When the lawn starts growing, I have to get the lawnmower and cut it. If I don't cut the lawn, it will continue to grow. When it starts growing, other things also start growing with it.
Yes.
It starts getting out of hand. That's why I have to cut it regularly. I'm not always good at that. But the object is, when the storm rises, deal with it.
Amen.
Don't let it grow. Deal with it immediately.
Amen.
The word today is weather the storm.
Amen.
Amen.